Flashback fans, this is Troy David, the manager of Flashback Comics. I want to take a minute to do a spotlight today on the mythological Avenger, the Mighty Thor, from the Mighty Avengers, hence my Avengers love today. Thor was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby in 1962 in a comic called Journey into Mystery, formerly a monster title that was repurposed to showcase the new superhero creation at that time. Stan Lee had already come up with the Fantastic Four and with the Hulk, and he was trying to top his previous ideas, and he thought, well, how do I top the strongest mortal alive? I won't make him a mortal, I'll pick a god. Instead of picking Hercules, which more people knew about, he went for Thor, which he thought would be more interesting. So Stan Lee and Jack Kirby got together and did some concepts, and what we saw was Thor versus the Stone Men of Saturn. I don't actually have one of theirs to show you, but what I am going to start with is a couple of pieces from the current Thor series. This is parts 1 and parts 2 of the Mighty Thor's God Bomb story arc. People who are following this now already know it's an awesome story that brings together 3 incarnations of Thor. A young, immature Thor, the modern Thor that we're more familiar with, and the older veteran Thor, currently the sole survivor of Asgard, as well as the Gore, the God Killer. And the story's pretty exciting. Get into it. But I want to take you back in history a little bit because I love to go back in history with these collector pieces. What I have for you right here is actually from the Silver Surfer series. Silver Surfer number 4 featured the Surfer going to Asgard as the pawn of Loki and fighting Thor. This was extremely cool. It was 2 of the more powerful characters in the Marvel Universe slugging it out with each other. This features art by John Buscema. It's absolutely beautiful.
One of my favorite covers of all time.
A lot of people love that cover. It's pretty iconic, and I've got one here at Flashback, but I've only got one, so don't snooze on that. Now here I have Thor number 202. It features a character called Ego Prime. He's a spin-out from Ego, the Living Planet. And I'm moving right through Thor history with this spot on Galactus. This particular story arc also introduced Fire-Lord and featured Hercules, Marvel's other mythological character. Thor and Hercules spent an awful lot of time palling around with each other and getting into mythological hijinks. The mythology of the Norse people, the ancient Vikings of Scandinavia, was interwoven and adapted freely by Stan Lee and the succeeding writers like Roy Thomas and much later Walt Simonson. We would see things like the death of Balder, which students of Norse mythology know that the death of Balder leads you to Ragnarok eventually, the twilight of the gods, the final battle in which the universe is set on fire and the world is reborn with a new man and a new woman. That didn't happen. What did happen was Thor continued to mix it up with heralds of Galactus like Airwalker and Fire-Lord. Again, Thor was such a powerhouse character that it was a lot of fun to throw Thor into situations where he would fight other powerhouses in the Marvel Universe, Heralds of Galactus, the Hulk, and a couple of times even his fellow Avengers like Iron Man. In the 1980s, writer-artist Walt Simonson took over the book and introduced us to Beta Ray Bill. Walt Simonson had a fresh take on the Norse mythology. He still used it, but he freely adapted it. He introduced us to the sci-fi element of the character Beta Ray Bill. Bill got his own hammer, got his own mythological power. He's a great character, and you can actually see Beta Ray Bill in this month's Journey into Mystery. I won't give it away, but I will tell you, it's a teaser appearance. Really, you want to come on for the next month when Bill is back in much more force. Now, if you're eager for the new Thor movie, Thor: The Dark World, you're going to want to pick up a Thor 345, which features Malekith the Dark Elf. Walt Simonson came up with this character, along with several other characters in this running story arc, and this is one of the better covers. I love Simonson's art on Thor. He said he brought in a sense of energy to the character, he kept everything epic, large, and he kept the story moving. Here we have this beautiful cover which features Thor and Beta Ray Bill side by side. And then we move into Thor 353, which features Odin's centerpiece and his two sons, Loki and Thor, as the three gods are brought together to fight Surtur to save Earth and Asgard. Thor kept it up. Here, Thor travels into the mythological realm of death, or hell, and along the way, Scourge the Executioner gets a chance to stop being a villain and be a hero. This particular issue is a great issue to read. It showcases Scourge the Executioner in a way that he's not been shown prior to that. I've got a shot here of Thor 378, and it features Thor in his new battle armor. Walt Simonson, again, keeping the visuals dynamic and exciting. Very colorful stuff, very powerful looking. Walt Simonson left the book, but the new team, writer Tom DeFalco and artist Ron Frenz, kept things pretty exciting, introducing the Celtic gods. Thor here fights Lear, the Celtic god of lightning. It's a classic mashup. You'd almost expect to see it coming. The Celts were as fierce a warrior as the Vikings, so yes, believe it, it's a great one. Thor's 400th issue, double size, it brings together the story arc at the time, which will also feature Odin versus Surtur for practically all the marbles. Showcasing the 350th appearance of Thor is Thor versus Loki here. There were consequences from that story, which would see Thor take on a new mortal identity. And here we have, again, another striking cover, Thor 450. Thor's been handled by a lot of different writers and a lot of different artists, but some of the things that have remained consistent are, one, the epic level of everything. You know, he is the Norse Viking god of thunder. You see Thor traveling to other dimensions. You see Thor traveling through space. He's traveled through time. He's adventured with the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's fought with and against Galactus. There's a lot going on throughout the character's lengthy history. Start at Journey into Mystery number 83 and bring it right on down to Thor in the present day, and also enjoy the Journey into Mysteries, which are showcasing Sif and Beta Ray Bill right now. And I think that's all the time we've got, but I hope you've enjoyed this little walk down mythology lane. I'd like to give a quick thanks to Patrick Michael Strange for continuing to make us look so good, and we'll see you next week with our new releases.
The rainbow bridge of Asgard, where the booming heavens roar, you'll behold it.